Hi everyone, welcome to episode 8 of the Exoskeletons and Wearable Robotics podcast. My name is Bobby and I'm with the Exoskeleton Report, and with me is my co-host, Professor Tom Sugar with the Wearable Robotics Association. Hi Tom.
Hello Bobby. It's great to be back again, and I'm looking forward to another episode.
Yeah, me too. So we have a new development. After 9 years of operations, the Exoskeleton Report finally has a Patreon, and we are excited to welcome our first Patreon members, Josh Caputo from Humotech and Rita Vasquez-Torres from New Stone Soup Consulting. Thank you both for supporting this effort. It's a huge vote of confidence in addition to the financial support. Much appreciated.
Just for the community to know, it's really good to support Bobby's work at Exoskeleton Report. He's been doing this tirelessly for over 10 years. He's been putting together catalogs and directories and calendars. So there's 3 tiers that people can join and support his work at Exoskeleton Report.
Thanks, Tom.
Fantastic. So this episode, we wanted to just work through for maybe 1 to 2 minutes per organization, just for people to understand what is being done in academia, what's being done in industry, who are some of the, important organizations, important leaders in doing things to help try to build and grow this nascent industry.
Yeah, I think that is a great topic for us to explore. So we have our, obviously, exoskeleton producers. There's the growing number of exoskeleton distributors, but we're not going to be talking about those. I want us to focus on companies, organizations, societies that share a similar vision to the Exoskeleton Report and the Wearable Robotics Association, where we see this technology emerging, we see the potential benefit that it has for billions of people around the planet, but we need to get the word out that this exists. We need to popularize it. We need to get more evaluators. We need to get more government organizations involved with it. We need to get more investors. We're seeing things move, but we feel that with a little bit of help, we can see them move faster. And we're not the only ones that have had that idea. And today I want to dedicate the episode to the various organizations currently working towards that same goal in their own unique way.
And I would also add to, fantastic there, Bobby, but I would add that hopefully with some of this, groups can collaborate more together and try to just push this out further. So I think you're going to see there's quite a few groups. I think we had about 17 or 18 groups we wanted to mention today.
Yep, let's get started.
There's the Automotive Exoskeleton Group.
So the Automotive Exoskeleton Group is, if I'm not mistaken, an offshoot from the Wearable Robotics Association. I believe it was a committee, one of the many committees that was active. It became its own thing. And it is a truly fascinating social experiment. For years, the automotive manufacturing has been a hotbed and a pioneer for the adoption of exoskeleton technology. And without going too much into it, it makes sense. You have a controlled environment with repetitive, physically challenging tasks and ergonomists and engineers on hand to help with implementation, troubleshooting, and evaluation. So the Automotive Exoskeleton Group got together and really pushed the envelope, got permissions from the different corporate entities to be able to communicate with what is really their competitors on what are the benefits, challenges, and solutions that they're seeing with exoskeleton technology and how it is helping their manufacturing process, how it is helping people live a better life for the workers at these companies. And can you remind me who were the founding
members? Were Marisol and a Frank Paciro from BMW. And I would like to add now that it isn't just automobile companies that are that are thinking about this, what they want to do is share success stories and share how to implement exoskeletons. And I liked how when they started it, they said there should be no secrets in safety. And so they were trying to come together, typically have quarterly meetings, and it's free to sign up and you can join it in LinkedIn.
Yeah, and I think some of the more active companies we've seen there has been Toyota, we've seen Boeing get involved, Ford, BMW, General Motors too, right?
Yes.
And that is just to name a few.
Bobby, the next group we want to mention is the ASTM International Exotechnology Center of Excellence.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to clarify, we're not doing this in any particular order whatsoever.
It's mostly alphabetical. So.
More or less, yes.
More or less alphabetical.
Exotechnology Center of Excellence, or the ETCOE for short, is a research to standards satellite of ASTM International Committee F48 on exoskeletons and exosuits. So Committee F48 has a roadmap that has been years in the making of all of the standards that could really help define, explain, design, build, evaluate, and so on exoskeleton technology. And sometimes that needs a little push and a little help. And that is where the Center of Excellence comes in with focused projects. In addition to that, the center has the longest running exoskeleton-related podcast, the excellent ExoChat with Bill and Nora. It's been going on for 2 years. It has well over 5,000 downloads on the podcast distribution networks. It's been a true inspiration to get our own podcast going. And Bill and Nora have been very helpful with hints and tips on how to get started ourselves. Right. And recently, the center organized the Exo Games, which was a student-centric event, which was, I think, truly phenomenal. It was not just a competition. It had multiple sit-down lectures and hands-on testing out real-world equipment, which needs to be made compatible with exotechnology. There was feedback for the students. I think it was designed in such a way that it was not just for engineering students, if you were for design, marketing, human-centric, social responsibility, you name it. It was a student-centric event. And it was also a way to test methods and have the challenges be based on standards and test methods. So that way, both sides got a lot out of that event.
Excellent. Yes, and I would encourage people to join the ASTM F48 committee. All right. The next tab, I think, Bobby, again, was Exoskeleton Report. I think we'll just again mention that Exoskeleton Report has been going for at least, 10 years, Bobby, and you've got your catalog, your calendars, and your directories effort into just trying to really explain, communicate, market, understand industry. So thank you, Bob.
Right. Thank you for that. Yeah, and there's an active news section. Patreon is going itself through upgrade, so it's actually a good way if you are a paying member to communicate directly with me. Unfortunately, it just costs a lot of money to do publishing without even factoring my time and editing and any of that. Just running the website alone is more than $4,000.
Okay, so let's now jump to Fraunhofer Institute. So the Fraunhofer Institute is in Germany. They are applied research institutes that get money from the government, money from industry, and money from projects. And so Dr. Urs Schneider and people that work with him, Dr. Malfrey and Dr. Daub, they have been thinking about occupational exoskeletons. And they're also been working in the Exo Workathlon. And I wanted to make sure we mentioned that they're helping to design and put on WearCon Europe in November 2025. It will be at the A+A conference. And they have put together an Exo Park, an Exo Workathlon. They're just committed to understanding as they call it, biomechatronic systems. So they have done orthotics and prosthetics, and now they're doing exoskeletons. And they've been, I've been working with them for over 15 years.
Yeah, and a quick shout out. This morning I was on a webinar by Anybody Technology and Fraunhofer, and they have taken the Exoworkathlon parkours and done motion capture on multiple participants, and then took the results from the parkour and took the motion capture and fed all of that into the Anybody simulation software to be able to really virtually dissect and see what is happening inside the human body with and without the exoskeleton on a muscle by muscle group. And that way you can dig a lot deeper than if you rely only exclusively on EMG signaling, which is limited to surface depth. And it's just one example of how collaborative that group is and how forward-thinking they are.
That is forward-thinking. Working with anybody to do digital twin technology, that's, really moving forward. Our next group, American Bionics Project.
American Bionics Project, I think, was founded a few years ago as a non-profit. And as the name suggests, it's to popularize, move forward exo technology and bionics, powered prosthetics, orthotics. Similar to Exoskeleton Report, they have a map of the headquarters of different companies. Similar to Exoskeleton Report, I believe it hasn't been updated for a while, but it is an example of for free service that they put together, published, which is commendable. And I believe that they're currently assisting behind the scenes with exoskeletons and bionics companies on how to just navigate the startup environment.
Excellent. Okay. So another large organization, IISART, that's probably been, it's been going on for at least over 10 years. And so IISART is an International Industry Society in Advanced Rehabilitation Technology. They're co-organizers of a Rehab Week in 2025. And as you can see, they have many, many, many partners around the world. And it's a not-for-profit organization. And they have working groups on education and promotion and rehabilitation.
IISART has been around since before Exoskeleton Report, and they've really been one of the main inspiration points for me. In the beginning, they used to have a catalog of medical rehabilitation robotics, which unfortunately I believe is not, if it's still there, I haven't been able to see it in a while. But it inspired me to do my work because it was just so easy to click through it and instantly understand what falls within their purview, what is out of it, and how it all connects together.
Okay. Another group, VDEI. It's an association of exoskeletons.
Producers.
Okay. So it's a paying members, and it's an association of exoskeleton producers, typically in Europe.
So they represent the occupational exoskeleton producers in Germany, Europe, and worldwide. And it's another due-paying organization. And they have done recently some work. I believe they published not too long ago an Exo Guide. So it's wonderful to see groups get together and share their challenges and figure out collectively how to push this industry forward. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, I don't have any links with VDEI myself, so I'm not 100% sure what is it they and their members do. But they have been around for a while, and it's definitely an inspiration. I think it's wonderful that just like IISART have gotten together on the medical side to pull together resources and knowledge on the occupational side in Europe. We have VDEI doing, having a mission statement to do the same thing.
Okay. I Got Legs.
So I Got Legs is a fascinating organization with a crystal clear vision. Can we take medical walking assist exoskeletons and turn them into a competitive sport similar to the Paralympics, where people with disabilities that normally would not be able to walk are not only walking, but they're power walking and taking laps, getting timed, getting cheered, being televised, live on social media to see who can reach the finish line first. What are their techniques? What are their modifications to their exoskeleton devices? How does that make their body feel? How can it be done safely so we don't end up with any bone fractures, we don't end up with any skin abrasion? And how can that be codified in a competition, a league, which will immediately raise awareness for people with walking disability, emerging technology that's out there, and would be a great fundraising vehicle as well.
So Assist Suit out of Japan.
The Assist Suit Association is a new firm, a relatively new entity, just the last couple of years. I believe that they are funded, though I have no way to really prove or disprove that. And the main thing that they have done is they're the first association that I know of, which is a combination of both exoskeleton producers, developers, and distributors. This is typically we have distributors only or producers only. And they are hosting these live events, which are open entry, free to enter, and they move from a Japanese province to a different Japanese province where people have 1 or 2 days the opportunity to go and put on downwear exotechnology, which I think you would agree is the best way to understand what we're trying to do here, is to put it on and feel it on your body for yourself.
Yep. Yeah, I would challenge the U.S. community. At one point, we talked about having some one-day conferences, like one in California, one in Chicago, one in Texas, one in Phoenix, one in the East Coast. Just one day little technologies where people can, one day conferences where people can just come and just try on devices.
Right, that would be another way to have it on wheels like a giant truck.
Yeah.
That you walk through it. I've also seen companies like automation companies would have demo centers. There's one walking distance away from where I live for pneumatics and custom automation solutions, and then they bring people from all over the world to the center. There's definitely different ways to do it, but it requires funding, and it seems that somehow they've been able to get to that threshold, which is commendable.
Very commendable. And they did come to Wearicon Europe in 2023. So we'd hope to have them, we'll invite them back in 2025.
Absolutely.
Okay, Motus Academy.
So Motus Academy is a fascinating entity that work together and collaborate with some of the other organizations that we've mentioned. And their primary purpose is to educate and explain what new rehabilitation and robotics technology, which includes exoskeletons, can do for people.
Yes. And so they're linked, I think they're linked with IISART, and that people can see the leaders are, experts of the field and, doing, outstanding work. So that's an organization that's committed to the education, of robotics and advanced technologies in healthcare.
Yeah, their leadership is truly stellar. And on the education side, I believe that they're working on a podcast. I think they're working on a journal publication for research papers that will focus on that missing piece between academia and implementation. And one of their initiatives I think is really fascinating is to get aging rehabilitation or robotics, refurbish them, get them in working order, and then ship them out to medical centers in developing countries, which normally would not have the financial capability to have access to this technology.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just getting started. We
Yes.
hope that Motus Academy is able to demonstrate what works in educating and popularizing this technology, and again, filling that divide, the application divide, from idea, prototype, initial units to mass adoption.
Yes. Okay, that leads us again to, let's say, a academic conference, the International Conference of Rehabilitation Robotics. I probably went to ICORR definitely back in 2001, 2, 3, and 4. And so ICORR 2025 will be in Chicago, and it will be part of that Rehab Week, which we've already mentioned earlier in the podcast. And I, it's been a conference where people, academics have been focused on, rehabilitation robotics. And certainly you'll have lots and lots of the academic leaders going to that conference. And as we said, IISART, Motus Academy, ICORR are working together in this area.
Yeah, and they're very heavily focused as well, to my understanding, on the application of this technology.
Yep.
Not just the theory of the business side, but okay, we have it now. Let's put it on people and let's evaluate what it does or what it doesn't do.
Right.
3 years a members organization for exoskeleton experts and distributors, primarily, right now at least entirely in Europe. And I think that's an interesting idea, to get exoskeleton distributors to have some sort of a platform to share ideas and experiences on pilots integration, share expertise, and what was the American term? The rising tide lifts all ships.
Right. And so the rising tide lifts all ships, and so they're thinking about how do we get distributors and retailers together and organized and make sure that the technology and industry can grow, and that's their goal.
Mm-hmm. And that they can grow with it too. Absolutely.
Yep.
Next one.
So next one is Get to Excel. I could mention this a little bit. It was started by Jose Pons, one of the biggest efforts to try to get the world together, right? So they were interested in trying to have clusters all around the world, like North America, Europe, Asia, the Pacific, and South America. Also, I think they worked a lot with some of the experts that were in Motus Academy as well. And this was a way of trying to, collaborate on a worldwide scale.
Right. And then once you have those clusters, have all the clusters come together and report under one umbrella organization. And both you and I have been listed and we're supposed to be part of the North America cluster. And I say supposed to because, unlike the other organizations that are currently active, this one is semi-dormant. It was really an idea that was not able to get the initial funding that it was looking for in order to take off.
Started by absolute experts in the industry, Jose Pons and Arun. They're both at the Shirley Ryan Ability Lab.
And it is a phenomenal vision, a vision that I think both you and I will definitely see one day executed in one form or another.
Yes. And I think that's why I said at the beginning of the podcast, it would be great if organizations can cohesively and collaboratively work together. And then I think we could get a lot done.
Yeah, and the Get to Excel is still active. So people can actually go click on it and see visually what we mean by that. This something like that, something very close to this, if not this exact iteration, is what we are imagining in our heads.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we're going to just mention some conferences here coming up, just so people know what's out there. So we found this one, the American Congress of Rehabilitation Medicine. It's a congress that's been going on for more than, I think, 50 years. But what interested us was there's a lot of medical exoskeleton companies are going to this conference. So please take a look at it and see what you think.
Yeah, unfortunately, I haven't had the opportunity to go. I haven't seen so much coverage from it, but the amount of activity on the medical exoskeleton side is absolutely worth mentioning and highlighting.
Another conference, there is an Exo Berlin conference that was in Germany. I think they had one in 2024, and I think it looks like they're looking to have again something in 2025. And they focused on rehabilitation, assistive robotics, and human-centered sensing. So obviously this idea of artificial intelligence sensing is going to be quite important for the industry.
Yeah, and I've had some guest writers present their thoughts on some of the earlier iterations of Exo Berlin, and it's always been positive.
Yep. We want just to mention the Wearable Technologies. They have conferences that are focusing on, wearable technology, whether it's AR, VR, prostheses, or sensing systems. But, wanted just to mention, it looks to us like they have conferences and resources both in Europe and the United States.
Yeah, and we've seen recently they are developing more of an interest towards exoskeleton technology and wearable robotics.
Mm-hmm. The Applied Ergonomics Society, they have a conference usually every spring. I think it's usually March or April. And a lot of ergonomists, go to this conference. And there usually is 3 or 4 occupational exoskeleton companies going there. They do have an Ergo Cup where people can have I guess you would call it a competition, Bobby. They have a competition on lots of different ergo solutions. And so I just wanted to mention that one.
Excellent.
And then we'd like to hear at the end, mention the Wearable Robotics Association. If I think about our future events, we'll be having a WearCon Europe. We'll return to the A+A trade fair Tuesday, November 4th to Friday, November 7th in Dusseldorf, Germany. There was over 65,000 people at the conference. We heard that people in the Exo Park had, 5,000 to 8,000 visitors there. Marisol and I will be at the National Ergonomics Conference, and we will be speakers just coming up next week in October 15th through the 17th in 2024.
By the time we air this episode, would have been in the past.
Yeah, so it'll be in the past after we've spoken. And Urs Schneider was at Rehabilitation in Germany, and they were talking about the reintegration back into work after, let's say, an injury. Could you use exoskeletons to return to work? And they've spent a lot of guest lectures and a lot of time there. So I want to just, highlight there at the end that, we are committed. You can look at the About Us. We're committed to the links of academics and industrial professionals. We'll be hosting a conference in Europe, and we look forward to anyone who wants to collaborate with us. What I've been doing now is just working on a weekly basis with Bobby and Exoskeleton Report just to have these, these fun for us. These are enjoyable podcasts, and we're also doing the hard work of putting together catalogs and calendars and things like that. Anything else you'd like to mention, Bobby?
I think all of these great organizations, conferences, and efforts. So the exoskeleton technology does not exist in a vacuum, and it's not just a collection of producers and distributors. There's more happening. So this is just one aspect of it, which is some of the organizations that are looking into this emerging technology. And I think maybe we missed one big one, the National Safety Council.
Oh, what happened to that one? That was on, I picked it. So the National Safety Council had exoskeleton companies going to the conference, and we should do a shout out that 2 companies were in the top, what would it be, Bobby? 3? So,
The top 3.
In the top 3. So that's absolutely fantastic.
But top 3 of what? I can't remember the name of the challenge.
So it was an event.
National Safety Council's 3rd Annual Safety Innovation Challenge.
Okay, there we go. Congratulations to those 2 companies. And I hope what people learned today was that we need to build a large ecosystem to build this industry, whether it's academics, whether it's producers, whether it's manufacturers, whether it's conferences, or whether it's organizations that are, not-for-profit organizations that are really trying to create an exciting industry.
Some for-profit ones too, as well.
To do which, Bobby?
And some for-profit organizations too.
Yes, there was a couple for, yes.
Yeah, just a few words on how the National Safety Council is approaching is that they look at emerging technology for safety innovation for workers and employees, and they've started grouping exoskeleton technology not as just part Industry 4.0 or Industry 5.0, but just as emerging technology. So they don't really care if it's wearable sensors or augmented reality for training and or to monitor hazards. They don't really care what the solution is, as long as it brings a solution and it brings injury rates down. And they've started doing a little bit more work from what we can see with exoskeleton technology. And recently they held their 3rd Annual Safety Innovation Challenge. And 2 out of the top 3 seats, like Tom just said, were exoskeleton companies. So excellent representation of the technology. And the winner was an exoskeleton company and was not able to split the vote between the 2, which really goes to show that National Safety Council is looking into it and that they have managed to represent the technology, at least to their members, in an exciting way.
Yep. I think maybe we should end there on a high note where 2 exoskeleton companies won an innovation challenge at a leading international conference.
Yeah, they became finalists, and then one of them won the top prize. Absolutely. And I think there's a shared vision here that you can have the technology on one hand, you can have the need, which we are seeing musculoskeletal injuries being a major cause for disability in over 160 countries. I think I saw in a webinar today, which was again highlighting what are we trying to fix here? What are we trying to achieve? And then you need that bridge, which is the creation of a marketplace.
Yep.
And there are companies, there are entities that they are working in their own way. If we missed any, please leave us a comment. We are not omnipotent. Sometimes there's things that even we haven't seen that are new to us, or maybe we have forgotten someone that has been around for years. It's
yep. We appreciate any support, and we appreciate help and feedback. And this is a educational podcast.
Conversation.
Best.
Absolutely. Thanks, Tom. Thanks for doing this. I think this was an excellent overview.
Thank you, Bobby. I do too. Cheers.